0864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three. Got it.
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Spin in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field. Back toward the wall. Gone.
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
It is Wednesday afternoon here on the campus of the University of Oregon. Welcome into Duck Insider. Jordan Brenner, happy to be with you in the Country Financial Studio. As always, brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. We have a fabulous show on hand today. We'll hear from Dan Lanning in any moment now. He just got off the practice field. He was fiery. He had a lot of things to say about his team's performance. We'll hear from the head coach of the Ducks. Additionally, Matt Ulmer is going to stop by the studio. Coach Ulmer previewed with me a fantastic trip that the volleyball team has lined up, going to Big Ten country this week and then to ACC country the following week. That's going to be a really big test early on in the season for volleyball. Sat down with Coach Ulmer, and then later in the show, the editor of GoDucks.com, Rob Moseley, going to join me on the show, talk all things Duck athletics, soccer, volleyball, and of course, we'll talk about the action on the gridiron last week and what we hope to see 5:30 on Saturday, a kick against Eastern Washington. Some news today. A non-conference schedule finally out for Oregon women's basketball. This week's women's sports schedule spotlight is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. The Ducks, they have an exhibition on the 28th against Carroll College, and then they start fast. First game November 7th, a Monday against Northwestern. The Ducks are going to play a couple of really challenging non-conference tournaments, one in San Diego, and one is the PK85 event. That will be played at the Chiles Center in Portland. Always a really fun event to go to. Recommend you going that. I recommend that you go to that if you're in the Portland area, or even if you're in Eugene making the trip up the I-5. That'll be a tremendous chance to see Oregon women's basketball, where they are early in the season before they get started in conference play. So pretty cool stuff. That's the non-conference schedule for Oregon women's basketball. They always schedule tough, and we'll learn a lot about that team. Without further ado, let's get to Dan Lanning's comments after a practice here on a Wednesday.
How's it going? Had a third down red area focus today at practice. Wasn't as sharp as I wanted. I think we have higher expectations for ourselves than how we performed today. Certainly how we performed last week. Like I said before, our biggest opponent right now is Oregon. We got to perform better as our team before we start worrying about other teams. That being said, Eastern Washington certainly presents a lot of challenges. They have a really good passing attack. On offense, they challenge your eyes with double moves. They do a lot of good things. And then obviously they can run the ball and use a variety of personnel groups. So getting ready for them. We're not there yet. Still need these extra days of prep.
Dan, you were critical of the tackling last weekend. What have you done this week to feel better about that going into the weekend?
We're not where we want to be yet, but we've done a lot of tackling. Right? I think that's where it starts. Right? We tackle. You practice studying. You practice with a purpose. Maybe some of the same things you do before, but you do it with a level of intensity that's required. And I still think we have room for growth there. We have to be willing tacklers. You have to be contact tough. And that happens by practicing that in practice.
After looking over the film, was that the main issue? Is it just an unwillingness to tackle?
Not an unwillingness. It's not executing the technique properly, right? Every one of our players want to perform well. right? They want to do a good job, right? There's a difference in wanting to do it and doing it. You have to take your weaknesses that you're not good at and work on it harder, right? Everybody wants to do what they're good at, right? I want to go to practice and practice catching the ball from a wide out, right? Throwing touchdowns if I'm a QB. Right? What they don't want to do is practice things they're not good at, and that's what we have to do, is practice what we're not good at. And until we get good at winning on the perimeter from a blocking standpoint and a destruction standpoint, tackling in practice and breaking tackles in practice, then we're not going to do it in the game the way we want to do it.
Besides tackling, when third down and red area was such an issue last week and you say you're not happy with it today, what were areas besides tackling there that you want to improve on?
Yeah, down and distance awareness, right? Understanding where the sticks are and how we finish there. When you play man-to-man and you have to play, you get put in a situation where you have to play deny the ball defense, we got to count on somebody to be able to cover their man. If they can't cover their man, we got to put somebody else in that can, right? Or we got to ask ourselves, maybe there's another defense that we need to be able to play. We have to do a better job than that. We got a great look from our look offense today. They did a really good job on third down. That's not where I want it to be. We're going to get better there.
Optimally, do you hope to have Ty play this weekend? Get him some opportunities?
All I'm worried about right now is playing the game. The only thing I'm worried about is winning the game. I want every one of our players to get an opportunity to go out there and perform. But it starts with just us going to play the game. I'm not worried about which guy gets in. What gives Oregon the best opportunity to win, period.
One guy we didn't see last week was Caleb Chapman. Was that just a coach's decision? Or was
no, he's been dinged up in the end. He's dealing with some hamstring and hip flexor injuries. I'm certainly hopeful that we can get him back. He continues to stay, working treatment.
I'm going to ask you about special teams since the game, Dan, and obviously Adam handled punts, and other than Bo's one, and Andrew handled kickoffs. How do you feel those guys did? Because, statistically, it's a couple of opportunities, but how do you feel those guys did execution-wise?
I don't think it was what I wanted. It's not where we want to be yet. Our kickoffs didn't get the depth and the hang time that we want. Again, the amount of opportunities were somewhat limited for those guys, but when it's, the one thing about special teams is it's one play focus. You get one play and you have to have an opportunity to do it right in that one play. I think those guys would tell you it's an area of improvement. At the end of every game, we grade ourselves. Did we win this area of the ball, right? Did we win our punt versus their PBR, our PBR versus their punt, our kickoff versus their kickoff return? We didn't win in that category. Special teams is going to be something that changes the game for us in the amount of time and effort we put in it. That didn't happen last Saturday.
Knowing that you guys play at home this week, have you been using that in any of your messages to the team to try and motivate them? What does that message look like, that, hey, we're going to play in front of our home crowd? Have you been kind of putting the pressure on them, like kind of saying, like, it's important for us to come and, like, win this game because we're playing at home or anything like that?
I don't think I've mentioned it once that we're playing at home. I am excited personally to see our fans show up. Everybody talks about the experience at Autzen Stadium. I want to see that firsthand on Saturday. I want to see our fans out here because they can certainly impact our game. That being said, I haven't put any of the focus on that for our players. Wherever this field's put, that's where we're going to go play the game, right? It doesn't matter if there's 100,000 people watching or just us watching. We want to go perform when we play Eastern.
Dan, just despite scoring 3 points against Georgia, what did you think of Kenny's offense and his play calling, and what do you think you guys need to work on and improve this week?
Yeah, we had a lot. There's certainly some positives at times, but when you don't capitalize and get points, that's the ultimate goal on offense, right? So when you turn the ball over, when you don't finish a drive, right? We got in the red area twice and didn't finish with touchdowns. Those have to be touchdown opportunities for us. There's some good to take away. There's certainly a lot of areas of growth. Kenny and everybody else on offense will tell you there's something they want to do better than what we did this past week.
Are you guys using some of these losses or some of these practice mistakes that you've had this past week to grow and learn as a team?
Yeah, we put it up there on the film. We grade it and coach it in front of the entire team. So when you walk out of the room, you know exactly where you sit and exactly what you have to do better. There shouldn't be any confusion in scheme, any confusion about what we're trying to accomplish on the field. The only thing that needs to be assessed is our performance within that call.
It's pretty seismic news on Friday. I know you guys obviously had a pretty big game too, but the playoff expansion and getting to 12 and obviously including access for the Pac-12 and all likely going forward. Just what are your thoughts on the future of a 12-team playoff and what that could mean for Oregon?
Yeah, I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it just because it doesn't affect us right now. I'm trying to live in the right now, but I think it's great to have opportunities to go compete at the end of the year, and it makes things important.
A couple of things also last week. We had a player collective start a couple of weeks ago and a new collective start last week. How important to what you guys are trying to do, particularly on the recruiting trail, will these operations be? I know they can't be inducements and all this. They have to operate within the law, but in terms of having thriving, fan-centric kind of collectives that can be more part of the process and help what you're trying to achieve here?
Yeah, I'm excited for opportunities for our players to go earn the most they can possibly earn. Right now, I would tell you that my complete focus is on our performance on the field, right? But does that affect recruiting? Absolutely. Does that affect our ability to get great players here? Absolutely. And does it allow our players to have an opportunity to be successful? Yes. And our fans to be involved. So I'm excited about all those things. But it's really, that's not in the forefront for me, and none of that stuff will probably be in the forefront until we get to February.
With Marcus Harper, what have you seen him kind of do to take advantage of this opportunity?
Man, just work. This guy brings a great level of focus and energy every single day to practice. He always has a smile on his face. He's always excited to compete. I don't think I've ever heard him complain, not once, about his situation, about where he's at on the depth chart, about what he has to battle or go through. I've never heard him say one thing. All I've ever seen him do is get up here and work. And when he's given his opportunity, take advantage of it. But he'll be the first one to tell you he has a lot that he can still improve on.
His versatility, just how much of an asset is it to have a guy like that?
Yeah, I love having Marcus on this team. He's a big part of what we're doing.
Yeah, after some tough losses or end-of-season losses, there are teams everywhere who sometimes use those things as reminders, put stuff around the facility. Sometimes it's a key code to unlock a door or something. Are you doing anything with 49-3?
No, we haven't done anything. We've gone back and evaluated the film. I'm not really a big slogan guy. I'm not a big punch code guy. That's not me. It's about true assessment, exactly where we're at. Use it as an opportunity to see where we're at and then grow from it.
Then do you want one of those running backs to emerge as kind of a bellwether running back, or are you fine with the running back by committee approach?
I want to see us execute at the highest level at back, right? If we have 5 guys who can do that, that's certainly better than having 1 guy that can do that, right? So you get in a rhythm, you get in a focus within the game. If we have that, that's fine, but I want to see all our guys eat, right? And I think I've said it here several times. If you're good enough, you're old enough. I don't care how old you are. I don't care, what do you do in the game? That's what it's about. What do you do in practice equates to what you do in the game, right? If you do it in practice, it's going to carry over to the field.
Stan Lanning meeting with media after practice today. A reminder, tonight at 7 p.m. we have our weekly coaches show hosted by Jerry and Joey right here in the studio. Going to be an especially good show tonight. Cam McCormick going to join the show live and talk to you a little bit about his unbelievable journey. One of the craziest collegiate stories that you'll ever hear. That's tonight at 7 with Jerry and Joey right here on the Oregon Sports Network on the Oregon Football Facebook page. Tune in. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll get a break and come back with Coach Ulmer, the head coach of Oregon Volleyball. That's after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking? Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. Call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Medicaid and CHIP offer free or low-cost health coverage for children and teens. Hospital and doctor visits, prescriptions, shots, and more are covered. That's peace of mind for parents if a child is sick or gets injured. And parents may now be eligible for Medicaid too, even if they've applied in the past. Enrollment is always open. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Coming back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union, joined by the head coach of Oregon Volleyball. There he is.
Yes.
Matt Ulmer
is
with us on the show. Coach,
Boom.
how are you?
That's getting better.
I rehearsed it.
Yeah. In the mirror?
In the mirror.
Yeah.
For several
Just
minutes.
by yourself?
I put more prep into the.
Or are you doing this
Yeah, no.
Is that how you're doing it, or just one hand?
The very few friends I have.
That's become your handshake?
Yeah, they practice with me, and the
left hand is not easy.
No,
I'll go off.
I am ambidextrous though, so.
Oh wow!
I come from a family full of ambidextrous people. My brother's a fantastic switch hitter in baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
How about you?
No. Not as much. But
that's okay.
Playing basketball, I could go left. In tennis, if there's like an easy volley, sometimes like to
switch
to get it. Yeah, get into your opponent's head. Oh, that guy just hit it with his left hand.
Is that okay? Wow.
I think it's like something.
Is that legal in tennis? Can you switch?
Probably not. I don't follow the rules in sports, and that's why
that's good to know.
My athletic career never came close to anything relevant at all.
Yeah, because you got kicked out or banned.
Kicked out or banned, all those things. Yeah. I actually do have a history in state tournaments in golf of infractions. So there was this one year where I picked up a pebble out of a sand trap, which I think has since been
in the ball moved or just
no.
Okay.
But I got a 2-stroke penalty and missed the cut by one shot by doing that.
Wow, you can golf?
I can golf. That's the one thing I can do. Let's go out sometime.
I would like that.
Yeah.
Lefty or righty? What do you do?
I'm a righty.
But if the tree is in the right stroke, you could go left. Do you have a left club though?
No.
You should keep like a 4-iron.
You only get 14 clubs. But
I know,
again,
but do you really use?
I bend the rules, so I can bring 15.
Yeah, because you're not playing in tournaments necessarily.
Yeah. Well, something tells me we're not going to be able to golf this week. It seems like it's probably a pretty busy week
if
for you.
If you come to Minnesota, we could probably squeeze in 9 or something like that. You want to do that?
Scott, is that in the budget to get me out to Minnesota
Not in the budget. Okay.
Maybe
yeah. Well, Miami's in 2 weekends. Is that in the budget? We'll ask Joey.
We'll ask Joey about Miami. We could get to some good golf courses over there.
Yeah, and we could just on location. So I feel like that could work.
Maybe next time we'll just have like a little putting contest in the studio. I think we could manage that.
Okay,
but you're a pretty good player?
No. But I don't know. I'm okay.
Okay. You seem like an athlete.
I shot an 80 this year. My goal was to break 80.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. I got really close.
You got really close.
That was very exciting for me.
Yeah, sometimes you just have those magical days.
Yeah, I'm very consistently within the 80 realm. Which is good. That's a good step for me.
I totally agree. Hey, you're going to get there eventually.
I figure if I get in the 70s, then my volleyball coaching has gone down.
Yeah,
It's going to be hard, I think, to do both.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you're shooting in the 90s for the next few months, and then after the season, let's get you to break that.
If I'm able to play, then I think that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Certainly no time for golf this week. I think this is one of the coolest weeks for the program, going back out east. Cool for a number of reasons, but let's just start with this. The scheduling for this program to get this team ready for potential huge matches down the road. You have Minnesota and Penn State on the road the next 2.
Yeah, I think this group has big goals, and they want to make a deep run into the tournament. And the last 2 tournaments we've been in, we played Purdue in the Sweet 16, and they were really physical for us. And I didn't think we handled the moment great. We bounced back. We bounced back and made it competitive, but we spotted them a couple sets of not our best. So that was something that we had really talked about, wanting to do better at, and that was during the COVID year where there weren't fans, or really the atmosphere wasn't what it normally is. And then this past year, we're at Creighton, and even though it was at Creighton, it was a very loud Kansas crowd, not being far away, and that was the first time we really had a real like away game atmosphere with the band and the fans and the students, the whole thing for this group, which I know sounds silly, but that was really like their first experience, and we handled that horribly, and we lost that, and that was really disappointing. So in scheduling this year, if these are our goals, then we need to go get in some of those matches, So being able to go play Minnesota at Minnesota, who's really an excellent team. They're one of the very best in the country this year. And it's going to be sold out, and it's going to be loud and intense, and I'm sure they'll remember the last time we played them there. The fans are very knowledgeable, and I'm sure they would like to see the Gophers smoke the Ducks, for a little bit of payback. And so I think that's a really important environment and match for us to be in. I'm excited to see how we handle it. That's been the conversation this week with the team of we need to start preparing for some of these, matches that are going to be really intense, and how tough are we going to be, in those moments. And then same thing going to Miami the next week. That's a really tough team to play on the road. And I think it's a smaller gym, but the same thing. It's going to be alive.
Right.
And, they're going to be all over us. And so, how are we going to handle ourselves, in those moments?
So cool. And back to back, right? Weeks away from Eugene. That in a way replicates an NCAA tournament feel as well.
Definitely.
In a way.
Yeah. So, unless you are a top 4 seed, if you want to make a couple rounds, you're going to be on the road twice. And generally for us, we're at least 2 time zones away in the playoffs. And then the the second round could very well be, 3 time zones away. So, you could very much see yourself going big trip, back to back. And that's not even counting the Final Four, which is in Omaha this year. That's something that we need to prepare for. Our conference, we don't travel as far. The furthest we go away is, what are we, Colorado? So, that's okay, but it's definitely not what we're trying to do. So I think, I think it's important for us to do this. We could have scheduled easier and maybe had better chance of a lot of wins, but I think for us, for the future of this team, can you go win in this environment? Can you go compete at the highest level or bring your best in this environment? And we'll learn a lot about us in the next 2 weeks.
No doubt about it. I think that's really cool, impressive that you're thinking about those details and how they could potentially pay off down the road. I think that's great. I do want to follow up on going to Minnesota in particular. It'll be Minnesota, and then you'll play Penn State, another great program, ranked 20th in the country, at Minnesota as well. But that Minnesota game, there are going to be fans in attendance who have memories of what happened in 2018, which to me is one of the great moments in Oregon volleyball history, what happened in that match. Can you take me back to that match in 2018? What do you remember? What did it mean to the program and for you personally as a coach?
Yeah, so Brooke Nuneviller and Carson Bacon, I think, are the only 2 on our team now that were part of that team. And it was it was just, we were so tough in that match. And Minnesota was excellent. The first set, it was 25-21, I think. And we hit like 350. Like, we played really well, but I think they hit like 450. It's like we were playing great, and they just were that much better.
Right.
And I think, you can really back down in that, but we didn't. And we just kept playing point for point. And that was, we lost the second set 38-36, and I challenged something that I didn't think we would get necessarily. It was just like, I have to, because look at this epic set going on. And the ball was down, and we got it back. Then we win 41-39, and then we just kept going. We ended up winning the match, and it was the greatest team moment probably that I've been a part of as a coach. Just to see our group be so bonded and just keep going and being so tough. But yeah, after that, the Final Four was in Minnesota that year, so they were extra disappointed, that they didn't make it. But I couldn't get an Uber in Minneapolis. Like, people were spitting at us in Minneapolis. It was like I was like, maybe we should get out of town for a little bit, because they took it really hard. So I think the fans will really remember that.
Yeah, well, that's going to be an iron sharpens iron type of weekend. Yeah. Either way it goes, I think it prepares you for raucous environments in the Pac-12 as well down the road.
Yeah, we have to be in these matches.
Yeah. Absolutely. So the team is off to a good start this year. One thing I've noticed is when the 5th set comes around, and this is particularly true in the last match against Rice, I think the team starts to really come together and play their best volleyball. That, to me, is a good sign. What do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe in the 5th sets against both Long Beach and Rice, it just took us a while to maybe feel really comfortable with our defense. Trying to adjust to what they're doing and what to take away. And so some of that is maybe, I'm not coaching us better. Like, I need to be able to get us to make some adjustments earlier. But 2, also just, really starting to feel what's going on and understanding the rhythm of the match and what the other side's trying to do. But I thought we made some great adjustments, in the 5th, and then our offense was smoking. I think we had like almost 460 in the 5th, and it was really up and down throughout the match. So that was exciting to see, and a lot of people stepped up, and we made a lot of great plays. Rice is an excellent team. They had 101 digs in our building. Like, that's not easy to do, and they were not cheap digs. Like, they just made some amazing plays. So I think we learned a lot about ourselves, I hope, and hopefully that just prepares us moving forward.
I think one thing that's difficult as a team and as a coach early on in the season is you're constantly battling how much are we trying to win now? How much are we trying to implement new things that'll help us in the future? How has that process gone for the group so far this year? How much has that been a part of what's on your mind as a head coach?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I think it's difficult. You're still trying to figure out who we are. And then there's some things, definitely, like you said, like our out-of-system setting and attacking, which I said was a big point of emphasis for us, this year to be better at. We're not as consistent as we'd like to be, and so we have to risk a little bit more. And so that was, I thought the first set against Rice, it was not good for us, and so that was a big push, and we did a much better job moving forward, but that's just reminding them of here's something that we're trying to do better. Or serving, again, like trying to find that right balance of being aggressive but not missing too much. And right now we're missing too much for not enough payoff. So those are a couple of things that are really big keys for us if we're going to be successful and play for a long time this year that we have to get better at.
Yeah, and I think it's a great situation to be in, that you're thinking about what needs to get better down the road, but here we sit, and this team is undefeated at this point in the season. So that's a good sign. What do you think are the strengths of this team at this point in the season? What, in your mind, should be getting better as the season moves on?
Yeah, I think we have really incredible individual defenders. Brooke in Georgia. Hannah Pukas has played great defense. Becca Morse, go down the list. Mimi's done just fine as a freshman, and that's normally hard because that ball's coming a lot faster than you're used to in high school. So I think we have good individual defenders. I think our block is a little wild right now, and so that's tough. It's if your line isn't very good, it's hard to make everything else work out. And so for us, our block needs to get more stable, and we're putting in the work for that. Our serving could help our block, so it's all connected. But if our block can be more disciplined, then I think our team defense is really going to get a lot better. And then on offense, I think it's just about connections, trying to figure out what everybody does best. I think every attacker we have on our team has different strengths. And so, for Hannah and Elise and Ava to figure out the tendencies of our hitters and what they're going to like to do, but then also continue to try to add new things into the repertoire so we don't get predictable. So I think all those things will get better over time, and once they do, then I think we're going to be a lot for people to handle.
So the next 2 weeks on the road, going to Minnesota, then going to Florida, that's going to be a grueling stretch, but a good time to do it before school gets going. I think that's a positive thing for student athletes to get that rep. What are some of the keys that you're seeing for your team in terms of traveling and going to the East Coast for the next couple weeks? What's your message to the group?
We always want to limit distractions. So for us, can you stay focused, whether that's at home or whether that's away? You can always make excuses. We're not interested in those. That's not going to help us. So Minnesota fans aren't going to care what our excuses are. So probably the biggest message, what I said the past 2 weeks is, now it has to be, they've been competing for spots with each other, right? Internally, they're all wanting to play, and and I get that, and that's great. That's how competitive they are, and they all want to be out there, and they deserve to. They're good. But now we really have to be Oregon-verse. We really have to be a team that is very united, and because, again, it's going to be 30 green shirts in a sea of maroon and gold. It's like, so if we don't have each other's backs right now, and who knows whose day it's going to be, who knows who's going to have to step up. But you can, based upon our experience, we know it's going to be everybody at some point. Right, so we need to be really bonded as a group, and we really have to be us versus the world mentality here in the next 2 weeks.
An early season test for Oregon volleyball. You can watch them on the Big Ten Network at 5:30 p.m. on Friday. I'm excited to watch. I think we're going to learn a lot about this group this week.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch us compete and see what we got.
Coach Ulmer joining us here on the, we got to go right
other
here.
hand. There you go. And you're ambidextrous, so
I can do it.
We can do that.
That's Matt Ulmer, the coach of Oregon volleyball, joining us here on Duck Insider. We're going to take a quick break and come back with more after this on the Oregon.
I'm not ambidextrous. I'm just that good.
So. He is just that good. There's no doubt about it. We're coming back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and the largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. The USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty, college scholarships for the children of law enforcement, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on the USDSA and how you can help, visit usdeputy.org.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Happy you are with us on a Wednesday afternoon on the campus of the University of Oregon. The editor of GoDucks.com, Rob Moseley, will join us in about 10 minutes. While we have some time, though, I want to pull up an interview with Sean Dollars, who actually was pretty productive this past Saturday. Sean Dollars spoke with the media yesterday, and here he is right now.
One thing Coach talked about yesterday is just wanting practice to be harder than a game, and felt like, hey, last week showed maybe that wasn't, you guys weren't always successful in that. So what do you try to do kind of better, different, more of this week?
Up the tempo. You know, practice always has to be harder than the game. We always have to get out there in football. When practice is harder than the game, you go out there in the game and be comfortable. But when we up the tempo on practice, hit harder than we're supposed to, dud up like we need to, we'll have good results on Saturday.
You feel like the tempo is where you guys want it to be today?
Most definitely. I feel like all the guys are on track with flipping the page and making sure that we move on, understanding our pillars of connection, toughness, growth, and sacrifice. And, you know, we're going to play for one another, and we have a long season ahead of us. So I think this is very crucial for us getting wins later on.
Sean, do you feel like you got in a rhythm at all last week?
I felt like I got in my groove when my opportunity presented. I felt like when your name and number is called, you're supposed to go out there and do your job. I feel like all practice, we've been going through this since fall, summer, and spring, so I feel like it just came natural to me.
Did you know going into the game what the rotation was going to be and the distribution was going to be?
Yeah, I was most definitely aware of the rotation. I feel like we all just kind of feeling the groove right now. I think we all have our different traits for different set of downs, and I think that's just how they like to roll us.
What's the excitement level like among your teammates, knowing that you get another chance to prove that you guys are better than what you put on the field on Saturday?
I just feel like I said, it's a long season ahead of us. I feel like every day we take it into action of getting better, getting 1% better, and just coming out 1-0 for the week.
You were on a team in 2019 that started out with a loss and made it back to the Rose Bowl, obviously. I mean, do you feel like there's some lessons that you can impart or other veterans can impart from that group about how to respond to this?
Yeah, I think leadership. I feel like that 2019 team had a lot of leadership, had a lot of guys who understood what it took to get to the top. And I feel like that's exactly what we need to display on this team as well. We got a lot of young guys that have not necessarily been there yet. So I feel like it's on us, the older guys on the team, to take a part and push them to understand what it's like to be when we're on top.
Who've been those leaders stepping up for you guys this week?
I feel like Noah Sewell, Bennett, Bo Nix, I could say myself, and amongst groups of running backs. I think we all have stepped up and understood the job and the role at hand to be able to take this team exactly where we need to go. We're talented, so I think we just need to put it together, understand the little details, sharpen it up, and this is a game of chess.
After looking at some of the tape, what did you see like you guys can improve the most on that offensive end?
I could probably say tempo. Say tempo, just speeding the tempo up. We're Oregon. We meant to play fast. I understand as soon as we get the ball, just being able to get to the ball every single time the play is done. just catching the defense off guard with their speed and tiring them out. That's what we're about, so we got to continue to do that.
The game didn't go as you had hoped, but you hadn't played in a long time. Just your feelings of not only playing but performing well when you had your opportunities.
I'm blessed, man. This is exactly what I worked for, but it's bigger than me at this point. I understand what I took toll on last year, but I'm just glad to be past that and understand that it's bigger than me. It's about the team, and all I really care about right now is winning.
In a 5 running back backfield, do you feel like it's an audition for you whenever you get touches?
I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say that because we all come together as a group. We all play good. We all play as one. If one plays off, then we all did a bad job. You know what I mean? So it's all about us coming to the counter together as a team and as a position group. So we have to continue to keep on doing that. I wouldn't call it a performance or anything. I'll just say we all going out there doing our job.
Obviously, in week 1, you expect a couple hiccups here and there, but did it seem like there was a disconnect on the offense? It seemed like a lot of those possessions, the ball did get hiked later in the clock. Or was that just a lack of tempo?
I would just say if you look at the game, we pushed the ball down the field, made a couple bad reads. That's just the game of football. It's what comes with game 1. Whoever's prepared the most. I wouldn't say we was not prepared, but we could have done more to prepare for that big moment like we should have. But I feel like we moved the ball well. We just got to finish our drives. So.
On the second interception, you were in motion.
Yeah.
Right. From your vantage point, because it looked like when Pat broke off the line, it looked like he wasn't even looking for a pass.
Yeah.
Was the first read to go to you?
The first read, I would say, is to look at the 3 wide receivers that was going off the blocks, and then if anything wasn't there, then you go out to the flat concept. But I mean, it's football. You make mistakes.
Give an idea, Sean. For obviously, the drill. Quarterback has a tough day, throws a couple of interceptions. Fans are going to be upset. They're going to be upset about 49-3. What is the feeling on the offense in terms of Bo and his status as starter of this team and people's support for him?
Right now, Bo's our quarterback, so we're going to ride behind him 25,000%, whatever you want to call it. And, I'm sticking behind him. I think it's a long season, like I said again. And for us to come together and get the wins that we're supposed to support one another, block out the outside noise, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do all our work in here in the facility, take it out to the field, and make it come together on Saturday.
What was it that Bo did kind of through camp that instilled that belief in you guys? He can have a game like that he probably wants back, but you guys are still behind him.
I would say just what he did throughout the whole course was just show leadership. I would say that he kind of put the balls exactly where he needed to. He was on connection with the coach. That felt like our starter and our backup and our 2 other quarterbacks, they're good for the job. So I feel confident in whoever they put in there, but right now we're riding with Bo as a quarterback.
With so many running backs in the rotation, is it kind of harder for you guys to get in the zone and really get downhill?
I wouldn't say that. I say when your number is called, you stay prepared, you be ready, and you go out there and you do the thing. You know what I mean? So I think we all play for one another. I got all love for those guys in the position room, so we're going to feed off each other.
You guys ran for a pretty decent clip against a good Georgia defense. What are your impressions of how the offensive line performed on Saturday?
I feel like they did phenomenal. I feel like we got to pick it up on the wide receiver end, the running back and the quarterback end. But I feel like as an O-line, they did exactly what they needed to do in the trenches. You see a couple clips where the guys held their own, and that's all you can ask for. We got to do a better job on our end.
Just heard from Sean Dollars, part of that running back room for the University of Oregon. After these messages, we'll talk with the editor of GoDucks.com, Rob Moseley, get his thoughts on the Georgia game in Eastern Washington coming up this Saturday, 5:30, your kick at Autzen Stadium. We're coming back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider here in the Country Financial Studios. Always brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. Joined by the editor of GoDucks.com, Rob Moseley. Thanks for being here with us, Rob. How are things?
I have no complaints.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good week to be a Duck. Wouldn't you say?
Always is.
I want to start with what we saw in the major leagues on the diamond. A really cool week. You know, I ran into a couple baseball players in the hallway today.
Scott Heineman's roaming around.
Yeah, Scott Heineman's been here like the last.
A pro duck in the flesh.
Great guy. Great interview.
Awesome,
we talked to him at UCLA last year.
Yeah.
Ran into a couple other Oregon baseball players, and you could tell how much seeing Ducks have success in the major leagues mean to the guys on the team now. I think it inspires a belief that, hey, that could be me a couple years from now. What was your reaction to seeing Spencer Steer and Ryan Nelson debut in the big leagues and do it in a historic big way?
It was funny. Like, I was at the Braves game Friday.
Yeah.
I think that was Steer's first game, right? Was
it
day?
Thursday or Friday? It was one of those.
Yeah. Maybe I was following him Friday, and it's all mixing together. But, yeah, I mean, I was locked on my phone when he was yeah. No, it was Friday because, like, Rob Mullins was there, and I was, like, showing him the highlight of the home run and stuff. Yeah. So it was weird to be, like, at one game, but then kind of –
but when you're at a big league stadium, you kind of feel connected to the entire league.
Sport.
And
yep, totally.
Word goes around the stadium, all those things.
And then Nelly's start was, what, Monday?
Yeah. So Juan Soto goes 0 for 4 against him.
Yep.
Manny Machado goes 0 for 4 in that game. He retires 17 straight at one point. He's like one of two pitchers in the history of the American League and the National League to ever have a stat line like that in their major league.
7 scoreless, no walks, 7 or more Ks.
That's not the Ryan Nelson I knew at Oregon. And I know he really put it together his last year. First team all-conference.
Yeah.
His second to last outing against the Beavers just tortured Adley Rutschman and the Beavers. Really cool to remember that. But Ryan Nelson kind of struggled with his command in his years at the University of Oregon. And then he goes into Petco Park and just slices through one of the best lineups in baseball. Really cool.
Yeah. I was really proud of him. Yeah, it was great to see. His mechanics have changed. That was interesting. His follow-through, he's still got that, like, long. He's so long follow-through. But, like, yeah, the way he sets up was different. So that was fun to see. But, yeah, you know, he was dominant here at certain times. That's for sure. So it's certainly not surprising to see him having made it to the big leagues and to see him have success. But it's always cool. It's like, you know, I don't have kids, so, you know, in some ways I feel like I sort of experience like a little bit of that parental glow when guys like that make it. And so, yeah, Monday
That's the oldest you have ever sounded on this program.
It's my normal pickleball day, speaking of sounding old. So I had to move up pickleball so that I was done and home in time to watch Nelly pitch.
Really tough decisions
and it was
that you have
throw.
to make.
Well, you know, we have to make compromises in life.
That's right.
You know?
Sure. You look around the big
Some people
leagues
have
now.
tougher compromises to make than watch baseball or play pickleball.
Right. Well, I'm glad that
a constant reminder of how
I think you made
I
the
am.
right decision. Let's leave it at that,
Yeah.
I think. You look around the big leagues, Peterson with a big brand of the Mets and the magical season they're having, Anderson and the Dodgers, Nelson in Arizona. You know, I just feel like there are Ducks in big cities in cities that Oregon's going to recruit heading into the future. It feels big for me for Oregon baseball to see that across the big leagues.
Yeah, I don't know if like where they're playing necessarily is going to resonate that much, but it just does when you can prove that you've produced players that are excelling at that level. I mean that month of July that Tyler and Cole and Petey had was crazy. I mean, all three of those guys were just really dominant in July in particular, but they've been good all year. I mean, Tyler Anderson, shoved again last night. Cole got kicked around a little bit last night, but he's had a great year, and Petey. I mean, you have to respect the fact that they've kind of, he hasn't had a defined role,
I mean,
they've
pitch in a rotation with DeGrom and Scherzer. He's been asked to do a tough job, and I think
but because of those guys and going kind of in and out,
right.
He's in the rotation, he's not, he's down to the minors, he's back up, but when he's been on the mound, he's generally been really, really good. So that's the mark of a pro too, when you can just, whatever they're asking you, you're doing, and even guys like Clevenger and Reed, bouncing around a little bit, but hey, somebody wants you.
Yeah, Reed got the call this week too.
Right. So Clevenger now with the Rays, and I think we've had 9 guys playing the big leagues, but yeah, I mean no hitters had the kind of debut that Steers had. Only one other pitcher's had the kind of line that Nelly had. To see guys doing historic things in their debuts is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I want to talk a little bit about Oregon football as well. I think one of the challenges this week, you identified it a little bit in your practice report yesterday, flushing the emotions that that go with losing 49-3 against Georgia, but retaining some of the lessons that can be taken from that game film. How has Dan Lanning and their players walk that tightrope this week?
There's so much kind of delicate nuance to, I think, the way you deal with coming off a game like that. Because you want to, perhaps there's some frustrations that you kind of want to bottle and let fuel you, but you can't have negative body language. You can't you can't have negativity around you. You have to try to channel it in a constructive way. And by the same token, you don't. It's not like you suddenly start doing a bunch of new drills that you hadn't done before. I mean, maybe you tweak, maybe, a couple more minutes on this that we were devoting to that. But really, it's just like, hey, you just got to be even more intense, more focused, more locked in on what you're doing. I mean, you can't reinvent the wheel too, So it is. There's some, it is a delicate balance, like you said, a tightrope walk a little bit between, how you navigate this to respond appropriately, and moving forward, in a constructive fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. Offensively, how is the team approaching getting better? We're looking. I'm hoping to see several touchdowns this Saturday against Eastern Washington.
You just gotta finish drives. I mean, I think they feel like, and with the exception of there were a couple turnovers. I mean, there wasn't a 3-and-out, I think, till the fourth quarter. You're able to move the chains, and you're able to even able to have some extended drives, but just couldn't finish them off. So, and even that touchdown, that time they got in the red area at the end. If you finish that with a touchdown, you feel at least a little bit better. So that's obviously a really good defense. I do think this game is, a perfect example of how quarterbacks get too much credit and too much blame. I mean, I think, obviously there's at least one throw Bo Nix wants to have back, but, offensively overall, you finish a couple drives, it feels a lot different. I think Georgia scored 49 points and took their foot off the gas at the end too, So I think, for this team defensively, knowing that future teams are going to try to attack you on the perimeter the way Georgia did until you prove you can stop it. That's you really gotta work to clean that up.
Ryan Walk goes down in week 1. One of the positives I took from the game against Georgia, Marcus Harper comes in, plays at left guard, an example of a guy who puts his head down and works.
No doubt, and he's a kid I really like. We've done some stuff. He wants to maybe work kind of in the communications field, something like that. So we've worked one-on-one on some projects over the last year or so, and he's just a kid I really I'm rooting for everyone, but sometimes there's firsts among equals, and I just really happy to see him get a chance and then take advantage of it. If folks watched his interview from after practice yesterday, I mean, he literally had been counting the days, and just kind of the exuberance that he showed to kind of get his moment and take advantage of it. He was so appreciative of that, and Dan Lanning talked about him today, just a guy who's always got the right attitude. And we talk about things like this week, body language and all that. How are you being constructive in the way you approach going to work every day, kind of regardless of the circumstances. And Marcus Harper's a guy who's always been that way. And really, really fun to see him get rewarded.
Before I let you go, I want to get to Oregon volleyball. A significant road trip to Big Ten country this week to face two top teams in Minnesota and Penn State. Talk to me about the significance of scheduling up like that. And then I also want you to reminisce on that 2018 Sweet 16 match real quick. Lisa Peterson was talking about how she watched that match with you, and just how crazy both of your reactions were in the moment to such a significant moment.
That's the one that was like 41-39.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember I was gonna do like a radio hit between. I think there was like an extended break after the set that went long. So like I went up to like on a catwalk or something to like do a radio hit between sets, and I think I brought my notepad luckily, because I think like there were like 20 more points in that set while I was like standing up there waiting to do a radio hit. So yeah, that was. Yeah, God, in some ways that seems like a long time ago. I guess that was pre-COVID, right? So
but
a lot has happened since
Brooke Nuneviller was a freshman that
Yeah.
year, and how cool is it that she gets to relay that story to her teammates as there's a mixture of experience and youth on that team. How about Brooke Nuneviller or Mimi Collier on the outside contributing to the Ducks offense, a senior and a freshman?
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. I have watched 0 points of Oregon volleyball this year, so you're way ahead of me in terms of keeping up with them. Unfortunately, just the way the football schedule and their schedule matches up, unfortunately, has not been good these first few weeks. So I'm excited to watch Mimi. She's obviously garnering a lot of attention, and I think as far as this weekend goes, you want to test yourself against big programs, and how you do this weekend matters, but more importantly, kind of what it shows you about yourselves. Knowing, hoping, however you want to phrase it, that you're going to run into programs like this in the tournament. You want to learn some things about yourselves and about the competition that hopefully pay some long-term dividends.
Absolutely. This week in Big Ten country, and then they go to Florida the following week. So really trying to replicate that NCAA tournament feel.
Right?
Yeah, Miami. I think one other school.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not that on it, like you say I am, unfortunately. He's the editor of GoDucks.com.
Talk about tightrope walks.
He's Rob Moseley. Thanks for being here with us.
Absolutely.
Fans always enjoy your perspective.
Yep.
We'll get a break, come back, and talk some more Duck athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider here on a Wednesday afternoon. We have several player interviews coming up tomorrow. That's going to be a great show. It's time now, though, for the 2-minute drill brought to you by Cafe Yum, and we'll start with the women's basketball non-conference slate announced today. Carroll College, that's the exhibition, and then on November 7th, Northwestern. That is a big game early on in the campaign. You also see the likes of a North Carolina there and Arkansas, some big brands that Oregon women's basketball is meeting up with. That will be fun to watch. 2 big tournaments for Oregon women's basketball. Big games coming up this week. Oregon soccer is in action at Pape Field tomorrow night against Santa Clara. That's a team that recently won a national championship. A good test for Graham Abel before they head east to Hofstra in the state of New York. A good time to go to New York. Graham Abel planning to make that educational for the team. A lot to do with 9/11 at this part of the year as well. So good opportunity for those student athletes. And then on Friday, Oregon volleyball facing off against Minnesota. A huge match for Coach Ulmer. I think a measuring stick match for this team as they balance what system they're running, the 5-2, the 6-1. We'll learn a lot about Oregon volleyball. Obviously, Saturday, the opener at Autzen Stadium. Get over to the reopening of the Mashofsky Center. Going to be amazing. First time since coming back from COVID that the Mashofsky Center is going to be open. Great place to tailgate, see some celebrations, and then hopefully go watch the Ducks get their first victory of the season. Wear yellow. Wear yellow. Good to know. 2-minute drill brought to you by Cafe Yum, restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington where special diet requests and custom orders are always welcome. Menus and nutrition info at cafeyum.com. Good show. Back tomorrow. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Luke. Back in the studio. It's Duck Insider. As always, go Ducks.
This is an important message from the Mine Safety and Health Administration. Mining fatalities, accidents, and injuries are preventable. Taking a minute to approach your task safely can protect you and your fellow miners from injury and death. Staying alert and focused can keep you safe. Do it safe, do it right. Whether buckling a seatbelt or securing equipment, these quick safety